Hey everyone, I want to introduce a new segment here on WTF is Happening in America. It's called Tantrums and Tirades with Dave and Carolyn. So we're going to go over some hot news topics and throw our tantrums over it. Let's get started. All right, Carolyn's going to start us off with our first tantrum. Carolyn, what's going on with Ice Cube? What's his deal right now?
It goes to show you how a person can be stupid and dumb at the same time. So for you to understand what I'm talking about, you got to look up stupid in the dictionary. Then you have to look up dumb, and you will find out that they're very close, but they're two different things. Okay, so for some reason, Ice Cube thought that he could get involved in what is considered political discourse, but because he's not a political person, you could tell he doesn't follow what's going on out here in the world. You could tell that because anybody who would decide to let the Trump team in any iteration use your name, you've got to know that that is not going to turn out well for you. And he's finding that out.
What are you talking about? I thought the black community loved Trump. How could that go wrong?
Well, we do. We love him long as he's not talking to us. Long as he's just making sure that we know that he knows who Abraham Lincoln is, we still think that we may have a shot with him.
So I mean, what's Ice Cube trying to do? I mean, I read, actually, let me Google the article. Hold up. I'm going to redo that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are getting confused. They think it has to do with the article, or it has to do with what he said, or it has to do with what he thinks he wants to do. But actually, when you listen to him trying to fix what he did, all he really does is let you know how unaware he is of what he did. You've been Kanye West, you stupid person. He doesn't understand that he got used, and all we're asking him to do is to say, you know what? I got trumped by Trump. That's all he really needs to do. And as long as he's not willing to do that, black people are going to be upset with him.
Okay, so I'm checking it out now. So apparently Ice Cube has something called a contract with Black America. It says this contract with Black America was designed to start the hard conversations. It was made to be perfected and debated. So please add comments and suggestions so we can create a better contract with America that will blah, 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 create a more perfect union. All right, I'm trying to load up the contract now. See what this is about.
Okay, and I will tell you, Dave, do not waste your time on that because he thinks he created some kind of contract with Black America. We've had a contract with people forever. Everybody who's come in office says, I've got you, Black people, and we know that that's not true. But when you go and say, I'm going to try to work with a schemer, a scammer, a liar, a person who couldn't even make a phone call to one of our veterans, to one of our military people who died in service, he couldn't even call that man's wife on the phone without it turning into a controversy. So what made Ice Cube / rapper think that having any dealings with Trump was not going to turn out well for him?
I mean, should I play the devil's advocate and say he's just trying to work with whoever he can?
Okay, well, we saw what that got Obama. Obama tried to work with whoever he could, and you see, it didn't help him for 8 years, and he was the president. So what made Ice Cube, who in his own words, when Roland Martin, look up Roland Martin, Watch some of Roland Martin's things, and you'll understand why this is so stupid what he did. Obama couldn't even work with the other side, the left, the right. I mean, Obama couldn't do it. Okay, so for him to think that he could just talk to somebody on the phone at the Trump administration and they weren't going to put that out there and people were going to attack him, come on, how dumb are you?
Hey, Cube's used to the heat, right?
Apparently not, because he's out here crying hard as you could possibly cry. It's a ugly girl cry is what he's doing. He's trying to make sense. Now, we gave him the opportunity to say, okay, I got ganked, I got robbed, I got tricked, I got bamboozled, I got shenanigans. He could have just said that. I thought it was a good idea. That's because I really don't know what's going on politically. And guess what? We would have let him off the hook. But he could not do that. Nobody asked him for an apology because one wasn't necessary. He should have just said, I got a good idea and I talked to a stupid administration. That's what he should have done.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, think about it like this. It doesn't even have anything to do with the fact that he's black, but he just happened to be black and did something so stupid that hurts him. Let's say it was Justin Bieber. And Justin Bieber said, I want to work with young white girls who are being raped on campus, and I'm going to work with Trump on that. Do you know how far that would have went? Okay, so Justin Bieber, you're going to pick the dude who said, pat him in the pooch and everything is okay. You think Justin Bieber would have got out of that unscathed? No, because Justin Bieber would have had enough sense to apologize right away and say, y'all right. I shouldn't have asked a man who believes in patting him in the pooch to help me stop girls getting raped on campus.
A Donald Trump works with a celebrity to stop campus rape would be probably one of the more ironic partnerships out there.
So this is what I'm saying. Ice Cube, who they asked, they said, well, where all this organization thing was going on, things were going on, and all these groups were out here trying to say, hey, where it is, here it is, Black Lives Matter. Where were you, Ice Cube? And he said, I was out rapping and doing my thing.
Hey, but he's ready to step in and help now. That's what counts, right?
Hey, he says nobody else was doing it. He said nobody else was doing it. So I wanted to step up to the plate because nobody else was doing it. And I'm just like, he doesn't even understand. How many people did you just negate by saying nobody else was doing it? So Black people have been waiting for Ice Cube to get off tour all this time to help us with some organization he started in August of 2020. And guess what Trump said? I need Black people. And guess what? Ice Cube said, I'm here for you. Or as we would say, I's here, boss. I's got a plan to get us out of the cotton field. Did you ever think?
Damn, Carolyn, damn. Oh, you're going deep on him now.
Come on now. You cannot say nobody was out here doing it. Nobody was saying it. And then you go act the Klan if they think that this is a good idea. And guess what? If the Klan was trying to do something to lure Black people in, the Klan would say, I think it's a great idea.
Ooh. All right. You burned Ice Cube pretty hard on this one. Do you want to keep going on it?
Well, now let me make it perfectly clear. I am not burning Ice Cube. I'm
Are
burning
you
the
sure?
fact.
Because he's about to be ice water after this.
Well, we doing everything we can to try to show him that what you did wasn't bad. But the fact that you thought that talking to the Trump administration wasn't going to end up like it did.
Right. Yeah, like okay, so that's what gets me about everyone that's ever worked with Donald Trump is it's just like how many people do you have to see touch that hot stove before you figure out you're going to get burned next, you know?
I mean, he killed Herman Cain.
Oh,
I mean, not directly, but Herman Cain said, "Hey, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be the black man. I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna go to this rally. I ain't gonna wear no mask." We saw how that turned out. And what did Trump do for the Herman Cain family? Uh, let them die out just like Herman Cain did.
ooh, yeah, yeah. Point taken.
Now, if you are not smart enough to understand that you cannot touch this hot stove, that you cannot deal with a person that says there are good people on both sides, that he thinks tiki torches is not a horrible thing. If you thought that person was waiting on you to tell him the way down the black path, come on now, who's the dummy here?
Yeah, yeah. He's just next in line of people who have tried to work with Trump and they got burned. I mean, it's literally like everyone that's ever worked with Trump. But
Right, but for some reason he thought he was special. Now he's getting beat up, and now he's not getting beat up for the fact that he thought he could work with him, but it's the fact that now he can't say, "Guess what? I got tricked. They didn't really care about what I was talking about. They've got a one page how to help the black man, and Joe Biden has a 22-page um, list of things that they think need to be introduced. And he went with the man who had one page. Come on, man. Say you was wrong. Say you got, and we will forgive you for being stupid enough to think that that was the path to walk down.
so that's all we need. Just a mea culpa from Ice Cube, and everyone can move on.
Okay, let me ask you. Could you see yourself as a perfect white specimen? Not I mean, for America.
Well, thank you. I do consider myself the perfect white specimen. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you're white, so that makes you perfect. And you're a person, so you're a perfect white specimen.
That
So when you
that
look
was
at
a
that,
that was a very low bar to clear, by the way. Thank you.
I agree with you. And so this is going to be my last thing that I'm going to say about Ice Cube. Because like I said, I'm not hating on him because he black and he need to do this or he need to do that. I'm hating on him because he wasn't smart enough to be even even the thing he's created. He should not have created it because he has not vested anything in it. You remember how Kim Kardashian got that black woman out of jail? Kim Kardashian knew how to do that. Kim Kardashian stood there at the White House getting beat to death. People was like, she this, she that. Kim got that woman out of jail. And you know what Kim Kardashian did? She never looked at Trump again. That's how you do it. You use him. You don't get used by him. And that's the thing that we're trying to get Ice Cube to understand. You got used by him. And by you being used by him, you are of no use to black people in any way, shape, or form until you do right by us and say, I was stupid. I don't know what made me think that this dude cared about black people, and I should have never touched that hot stove. That's all we want.
Fair enough. Hey, in defense of Kim K, I know some Armenians. They do know how to get things done.
Exactly. Kim's so smart, and I don't care what people say about her. Kim is so smart that she married a lunatic who went up in the White House. Now, there's an idiot who was wearing a mega hat, and that is the contrast. If Ice Cube had sense, he could have used that contrast. He could have just threw Kanye under the bus. Lord knows you can't throw a person under the bus who's laying under the bus holding on to the hot pipes. You can't throw him under there. He's volunteering to be under there. But he could have said, hey, I'm not trying to do that. I made the mistake of thinking that this guy was really interested in what I was doing. Now I see that he's not. I'm out.
Right. Yeah, that's a smart call. That's a smart call. Okay, so we're going to move on to one of my tantrums. So mine is Donald Trump's quote unquote joke the other night that he might leave the country if he loses the election.
Oh, I'm so sad, Dave. I hope it's not true. Say it ain't true, Dave.
He was like, look, what can I say? I'm up against the worst political opponent, the worst candidate in the history of the United States. If I lose, what am I going to have to do? I'm not even going to be able to show my face around here. I might just have to leave the country. I might just leave.
Dave, you do a wicked Donald Trump. You do. If Donald Trump really felt 20 years younger, he would sound just like that, Dave. You do a wicked Trump.
Thank you, because for a second there, I thought it was kind of like verging on Dr. Evil. Like it was a little like Trump and like almost going into Dr. Evil.
Well, then you would still be right if you rolled into Dr. Evil. You still would be in the, in the same, voice as Trump, because I mean, he's Dr. Evil. We all know that. I mean, does it make him a bad person? No, because it's good people on both sides, but that was a wicked Trump. But here, let me ask you this, Dave. Would your people miss him if he left?
Hold on, what do you mean by your people?
I just tried to throw that in there, Dave. I knew you wouldn't let that stand. Okay. But seriously, how much of a detriment do you think we would suffer if Donald Trump left America?
I don't know if that's a serious question because, the answer would be zero. It would be a net positive because the guy's an absolute lunatic and he's a fraud. Hold on. I actually have a direct quote here. It's from his former chief of staff. Yeah, the retired Marine General, John Kelly. So, I don't know if anyone knows about John Kelly, but if you respect the Marines, if you respect the opinion of a Marine General, here it is.
You'll no longer, if you respect those things, you no longer respect John Kelly. He's a freaking Ice Cube idiot. He's another one. Guess what? You started out smelling like a rose, but you'd have jumped in the middle of a pile of shit and you can't, excuse me. You'd have jumped in a pile of poo and you're not going to get that off of you, John Kelly, no matter what you do. But you know what? But I digress. Go on, Dave.
So John Kelly said that Donald Trump is, quote, the most flawed man he's ever known.
Okay, so Dave, what do I say about...
Hold up. He said the depths of his dishonesty is just astounding to me. That's a direct quote from Trump's former chief of staff.
Yeah, but once again, what does it really matter? Because how long did John Kelly stand in there? He stood in that White House, Dave, even after Trump said, I don't know why your son chose to fight for this country and die. What did he get out of it? And John Kelly still stood there. Listen, if you go to the depths with this guy and then you start trying to make sense, nobody's going to believe that. No one cares. Who cares? No one cares.
Yeah, it's another fair point. Another guy who touched the stove and got burned. I mean, it happens again and again.
Now, Dave, let me ask you, if we had to speculate on what country with no extradition, because we know That's what he's going to be looking for. What kind of countries do you think that would take Trump in?
That was a nice tee up. I mean, well, I mean, Edward Snowden seems to be pretty comfortable in Russia, so maybe they can go hang out together.
So Dave, are you saying Russia?
If I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think it is. But if Donald Trump loses the election and he literally flees the country and goes to Russia where there's no extradition, then it will officially have been the greatest caper pulled off in United States history. That was,
Yes.
there's no doubt about it.
It will be everything Nixon thought it could be, wanted it to be, and could not be. But this dude would have actually done it. Now, here's the sad part. We both know that this guy has no real money. Okay, so Dave, let me ask you. Donald Trump flees to Russia. What kind of life do you think he would have in the land of Putin? In the land of the man he loves more than American intelligence? What do you think that life would look like for him?
It's funny you say that because Trump has said plenty of bad things about American intelligence, but I still don't think I've ever heard him say a bad word about Vladimir Putin.
But do you think that Putin would still have use for him and let him live as lavishly as he lives now? Because what value would he have? Could you imagine he goes to Russia fleeing because he's going to have to flee America because they're going to get him on tax evasion. It's no question of that. But he goes to Russia, and what kind of life do you think I mean, do you think he thinks he's going to become a czar, or do you think that he thinks Putin is going to give him a castle? I mean, what do you think that he thinks his life is going to be like? Give us an idea. Your vision. You're closer to Trump people than I am, so you might have a better view. And here's another question, Dave. Do you think the Trump voters are going to go with him?
Well, they do have their shirts. I'd rather be a Russian than a Democrat. So some of them might. I don't know. Some of them might. I don't know.
They would rather be Russians than Democrats. That's a T-shirt right there, Dave. I love that T-shirt. That says, "I would rather be Russian than a Democrat." We should sell those. That's a winner there.
They're already out there. They've been out there for years. But no, look, I mean, and again, I'm not saying I know for certain what's going on behind the scenes, not at all. But if this was a real scenario and Trump flees and he goes to maybe not even Russia, just maybe like, even a Russian satellite country, like, well, I don't know, he's not going to go to Belarus or anything. But
no, Dave, you got to first find a country that's not filthy, because let's don't forget now. I don't know what. Now, he may love Putin, but I never heard him say, Russia is a beautiful place and I would love to live there. I'm pretty sure he thinks Russia is an asshole country. I'm pretty freaking sure of that.
Well, I think he's been there. They've had deals. I don't think there's a Trump Tower in Moscow yet, but I know they were talking about opening one up. Actually, right before the election happened, actually, him and Putin were talking about a deal to
well,
open
that's
up
how
some Trump hotels.
that's how it right exactly, Dave. That's how he wound up in all the Putin problems. What to do about Putin? That's how he wound up in that. Over a hotel that he would not have built, designed. First, the only thing he would have done is allowed them to put his name on the front of it. And why people are continuing to put the name of a bankrupt, I think it's four, I could be wrong, because I know people will jump on there and be like, oh, it wasn't 4, it was 3 or whatever, however many. It's more than I've had. On the front of their hotel, it's beyond me. I don't understand the glamour of this old man's name. I do not get that either.
Well, it's like everyone said. It's like Trump is like the poor man's idea of a rich person. You know what I mean? And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like he has the lifestyle, but obviously the way he acts is different than like most people who have like really earned their wealth. You know. Um, but did you hear about this town hall meeting? So like apparently he admitted, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but apparently he admitted in the recent town hall meeting that yeah, he did owe someone $420 million. It's a very small amount for him. Just a
Right.
measly 420 million. Like he openly
Okay.
admitted
Like it's
that's
no big thing. So what? I owe somebody 400 plus $1 million. So what?
peanuts,
Hey,
peanuts.
there's a lot of people out there who owe that much money. Okay, but who do you owe it to? Why does it matter? A couple of songbirds today. He says, why does it matter who I owe it to? And I don't know if you read this. They said it's more closer to $1 billion
That's what they're
that
saying.
he's in debt than
That's what the New York Times is, reporting.
Dave. I look at it like this. If you're old and you have a house that's full of gold fixtures, you are not modern. You are not thinking like a forward thinking person in 2020. Nobody wants gold fixtures in their home except people that there's something wrong with.
What are you talking about? What if he wants to live like an insane like Bavarian king from the 16th century or something like that? Why can't he do
Well,
that?
well, the first thing wrong with that, Dave, is that you got to have that kind of money. I mean, let's think of it like this. He's in a lot of trouble because if he moves to a foreign country, first of all, that foreign country is going to have to sponsor him like the children who come here from foreign countries when they're in high school. Trump will have to be sponsored because he has nothing to take with him.
I'm sure he'll find sponsorship. I'm sure it'll be all right. Uh, but hold up. I want to go back to this 420 million in debt, possibly a billion in debt they're talking about. To
Okay.
me, this is the actual unraveling point of this whole thing. Because the number one argument behind, like, well, Trump can't be doing anything. Trump doesn't need the money. He's already rich. Well, actually, it turns out if he's like hundreds of millions, billion in debt, okay, then this dude is a sinking ship, and that would confirm his behavior and why he's doing all the shady stuff he's doing.
Absolutely. He's a sunken ship because after he leaves office, he's going to have to go back to that tacky tower. Now, don't get me wrong. Who would not want to live in a palace in the sky? I mean, all of us would want to do that. But that's a total gut job, dude. And he cannot even afford to do that without robbing Peter, robbing Paul, and that's the name of the construction companies that he's going to have to rob. He could not leave and go to a foreign country unless he was sponsored. Nobody's going to let him take any money from the United States. And, I mean, I don't even believe this guy has secret bank accounts because he has no money.
This is what I've been trying to tell people about Donald Trump this whole time. If you're just following what he says, you're missing the point. Like, because he'll lead you by your nose, by your ear, through hell and back. I mean, if you just follow what this dude says, you're missing the point.
Right.
You follow the money. That's what
Exactly.
you follow with Donald Trump. You follow the money.
Yeah,
That's what he's about. That's what he's here for. He's here to make money from being president.
right. I
Follow the money.
I actually
And by the way, follow the body count. How many people have gone to jail? Like Roger Stone, Michael
right,
Flynn, Paul Manafort, Steve
right.
Bannon. If he's not arrested, then he has charges against him. Like follow the body count and follow the money because that's where the story is with this guy.
You know who has the money in that family? Melania. And you say Melania.
Yeah,
That's
how?
because listen, Melania. And Melania said, I don't want none of that monopoly Trump money. I need my money in a real trust. Big trust. Because listen, if there's anybody who knows where the bodies are buried, it's that chick. It's hot. She's gonna get her big cut. Because I think that, she's like, for every day I stay with you, I need a
The
million
price goes
dollars.
up.
I need $1 million. Now, I think that she really got paid big when her son, even though I don't know how Barron had to get the virus from his mother, because I know he didn't get it from his father. We know that he didn't get it from his father. So I think the fact that Trump wants to leave us, I think it's the greatest thing ever. I would donate to that, Dave. I would donate to Trump leaving.
Well, like we need like a Trump translator because like when he says that stuff, like, oh, if I lose to the worst candidate ever, I can't even save face. I'm just gonna have to leave. That's not just a joke. I feel like he's kind of just like, by the way, if I decide to flee the country, let me go ahead and say this now so I can I
Exactly.
can save a little face by getting out ahead
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. And listen, he's letting, once again, this dude cannot keep his mouth shut about anything. He might as well say, hey, I know if I lose the election, I'm going to get indicted. I'm going to go to jail. So I'm telling you right now, I'm not leaving America because I may get indicted and go to jail. I'm leaving because this guy sucks and I don't want to live under his rule. I want to go to a foreign country where there's a real rule, a real king or president for life or whatever. I want to go to that country. How stupid can you be? How dumb does that sound?
Well, I mean, if anything, I thought he would just take the pardon route too. Like, I never thought he would do something like. I mean, I still don't think he's. Again, this is all speculation. So I don't. I still don't think he's gonna like flee the country if he loses.
He's gonna go, Dave. Who's gonna pardon him, Dave?
No, that's not Mike Pence because
Who would
that's
pardon
what you
Trump?
do. I mean, I thought if anything, I thought he would pull a Nixon. He would just be like, you know what? He's like, I pardon everyone below me, and then he steps down, and then the VP steps up as president and pardons him, just like they did with Nixon. I thought that was, that's what
Dave.
Gerald Ford did for Nixon. I thought, if anything, I would think they'd do
So,
something like that.
so you literally still think you literally see that's the white guy in you, Dave. You still think that this guy got some sense, and see, we know that
Well,
we don't
no,
think
no,
like
you got
that.
me. I don't think he has any sense. No, no.
Okay, but because once again, anytime people start saying, I thought he might, that tells you right there, okay, you still got hope there. This dude is a freaking idiot. He doesn't have enough sense to do that because he really thinks that he's going to win all the way up to the point where he starts saying, well, I may not win. And then, at that point, he still doesn't believe it. So that's the difference between him and Nixon. Nixon had enough sense to know this stove is too hot. All the freaking skillets and pots, all of them are burnt up. And I need to get somebody to protect me from all the things that could happen to me once I walked away from this office. I mean, if Trump wanted to do that, you're right. They could, Pence could say he can't be prosecuted against any of his thieveries. And Donald come out and said, I did this, I did that, I did that, I did this. Then he gets one of his judges to convict him for all of those things. And then guess what? Pence say, hey, I exonerate you from all of your thievery and tomfoolery and shenanigans. And then he doesn't have to go live in a foreign country because the Southern District of New York, they're going to treat him like a foreigner. I tell you that. They're going to crack him open.
Yeah, from what I understand, and this is kind of going back to the why he would flee the country, is that a president can't pardon state level crimes. So a pardon from Pence would not save him from prosecution from a New York State crime.
No, Jesus, you could either go with Jesus or you could take a step up to Jesus's boss, God, or you could, spin around and look and say Buddha. I don't care what religious God you pick. They could not save this guy. There is no amount of prayers from all his supporters. There's no amount of prayers that can help this guy. He's going to go to jail.
We'll see. We'll see. This is the craziest election season. Now, was this what it was like in the 70s? Is it like right now?
Well, no, because in the 70s, they could just club black people in the head and say, get out of line. We just couldn't vote. I mean, they didn't have to do all of this stealing the vote and, putting up fake mailboxes. They didn't have to do all of that. They could just, actually go on TV and say, black people show up in my district, they're gonna get it, and you knew if you went there, be prepared to maybe be terrorized and tortured, possibly.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother topic. Just the ballot box stuff. How that whole thing's been crazy. Like that, it's been blatant corruption. How they've dismantled the post office. They got rid of like mail sorting machines. They never replaced them. They're getting rid of public mailboxes out on the street. They're removing polling stations. I think I saw a map that there's a county in like West Texas where there's nobody lives there. They have the same amount of polling places as Houston. That's insane.
Here, let me say this to you. The reason people don't recognize this is because they keep saying they're trying to disenfranchise black people. Okay, well, first of all, anywhere black people live in 2020, I guarantee you other races live there. And long as they keep making it sound like they still in votes from black people, it's who's going to care? But here's the thing. White people and people of the higher color realm have got to understand that if they stealing it from my neighborhood, they stealing it from yours. If I'm in the grocery store and you're in the grocery store and you are of the lighter denomination, guess what? They're stealing your freaking vote too. And it's almost like white people don't know that they're being disenfranchised too. For some reason, they think, oh, voting for me is easy. No. They're stealing your vote too. And so it bothers me when they make it sound like they're only stealing black and brown votes. Nope. They're stealing everybody's votes. I'm from Chicago. I lived in Chicago. Do you think that I never saw white people when I lived in Chicago? Do you think my neighborhood, there was no white people in it? I'm going to say, I lived in the hood and I lived in the better and I lived in the best. And guess what? It was people of all colors. So to steal my vote is to steal everybody's vote. We need to stop saying that.
You're 100% correct. That's one of the things that really pisses me off. If I want to believe in our system, if I want to believe in democracy, if I want to think there's fairness, that's just one of those things that really pisses me off. It's just, first of all, why is it? Why do you? I don't even know if we should have to register to vote. I mean, if you're born and you got a social security number, shouldn't you kind of be registered to vote then too? You know what I mean? Like choose your party affiliation, sure, but I mean, the fact that we've made it so hard to vote and you have to go through so many steps in some cases, and don't get me wrong, in some places it's harder than others. I mean, for plenty of people, kind of depending how your state runs it, it's not that hard. But why, for example, isn't Election Day a national holiday so everyone has time off to go and vote?
Well, I think that if it became a national holiday, you would get less people voting. I really do. I think it needs to be a job. I think it needs to be a chore because come on, you give me a free day off, I'm not gonna waste it voting. I'm gonna be doing the other crap. I'm gonna be watching TV. I'm not gonna do it. You gotta make me want to do it. So I think that should happen. But let me tell you this. This is my thought on it. I think that everybody over the age of 18 should have an ID. I really do. Now, I think that IDs should uh, cost maybe $10. Don't keep raising the cost on it to have crappy service at the driver's license facility because we know the service there is terrible. So once you hit the age of 18, you should have to have legal ID. I don't believe you should have to show it to the police if they pull you over, but I think you should have it. And I think that once again, look how easy it'd be. $10, you just got an ID and you just registered to vote automatically. But you know what? They voting is still now. Guess what? Any president who wanted to could have said, listen, I'm signing in a mandate. 18, you must have a valid ID, and it automatically makes you voter register. And you don't have to do it every year. Long as every time you update your ID every 4 years, you update your ability to vote. And guess what? It's over and done.
Yeah, and that makes way more sense. I mean, there's a million ways they could do it, but anything like that would be way easier for everybody.
Exactly. I mean, why must people jump through so many freaking hoops to do the one thing that you have decided that we have to do to have crappy representatives? Because, you know, who the listen, you're never going to get rid of terrible people in politics because you're never going to get enough people who understand the privilege of voting because they've made it look like such a freaking chore that people are disenfranchised, they're disinterested because who wants to go through all of that?
Little side anecdote. I briefly did some canvassing for a local election in Brooklyn one year, and actually, I went to a lot of Russian neighborhoods, and let me tell you, a lot of those older Russian people who have been through terrible political regimes, they were really on point with the voting. They were like, even though their English wasn't great, I would knock on the door. They're like, yeah, voting, yeah, I'm all in. Yeah, we're gonna do this. Like, yeah, I'm gonna vote. Either that or that was their effective way of just getting me the hell out of there. I don't know, one of the two. but they seemed really fired up and interested to do it. Because they'd experienced the opposite.
Exactly. They've been allowed to vote and their vote has meant nothing because whoever the dictator was in power, he didn't care whether they voted or not because it didn't matter to him. He knew he would win. So they knew that, but they still cast it. They still went out there and did it, even though they knew it was not going to change anything. And here we are saying it's too much trouble. They keeping up too much crap about it. Why do I want to go out here and do this? And it took a person like Trump to show people this is what disinterested will get you. And that turned out to be absolutely nothing. Nothing.
Oh God, it's so true. All right, Carolyn, should we wrap it up? Do you got any more tantrums for tirades?
Let me think. What's going on this week that kind of set me on? I guess that um, why did Trump let Guthrie interview him? Once again, it shows you that this guy has no understanding of who he's talking to, because Savannah Guthrie was not the person to let do a town hall for him when he's going up against Joe Biden doing a town hall. What did you think about the dueling town halls? Did you think it was smart? Did you think it was stupid? What did you think about that?
Honestly, it's probably best that we didn't get another debate. I'll say that.
But I mean, did you watch either one? Did either one make you want to see what either person was saying?
No, no to all the above. No.
Yeah, because we had 15, maybe and a half million people over there watching Biden, which is great because it kind of makes you say, if this was the election today, Biden would have won by a couple of million people, because uh, this was the first thing that Trump has ever did that he did not talk about the ratings, because Biden outrated him. But it was very shocking that Trump didn't come out and say that the ratings was fake news. I was really amazed by that.
Well, if it's true news, then you can just ignore it.
Well, I guess now we know we know his tail. We know his poker tail. If he says nothing about it, then we know it's so full of truth that even he can't figure out a way to turn it into fake news, right?
That's it. That's it.
All right, Dave. So, thank you for letting me sound off about
My
Ice
pleasure.
Cube. And we have to thank the people, and we want to hear what you all thought. And I want you to do this. This is a pet peeve of mine. People talk about other things than the actual point. And the point that we made today, just to freaking recap for people who like to take what you say and then add a whole lot of freaking seasonings to it, you know, what we talked about was this: Ice Cube got used by the Trump administration. No one's saying his plan isn't good. No one's saying he shouldn't help. No one says he shouldn't. I'm not saying that he shouldn't, all of those things. I'm saying that if he thought that he wasn't going to get used, then that means he's stupid on that point. And he needs to accept that. Just that. His whole life is not built around him being an idiot. That one point that he thought that he wasn't going to get used, once again, shows you that he has an ego problem and he needs to work on that. That's the whole point. That's the point we're making. So we will talk to you guys next time when Dave and I come up with something else where someone's throwing, a tantrum. And right now, Ice Cube is throwing one. Leave me alone. I didn't mean that. Yeah, you did. And you did it. So suck it up and shut up. So talk to you next time, Dave.
All right, it's been fun, Carolyn.
Bye, guys.